Well, here's another watercolour demo, and it's from North Pembrokeshire. We were down there last week staying in my daughter's caravan, and I just wet the paper with water, and I'm just dropping some colours in. And yeah, we on the Monday we went to Harford West. Gwyneth went to the shops. I sat in a cafe by the river there, and outside in the cafe, and lovely day and quite fresh, got a bit of a wind, and then yeah, had a good book, a bit Puritan, George Swinnock. I'm really getting into his writings at the moment, and then I was joined by a lad from a little church in North Pembrokeshire called Roach, Pennywell Baptist Church in Roach. And yeah, his name is Daniel. So I've got to know him over the years a little bit. And so he was on his way to work, so we had a bit of time together. And now so I'm just dropping, just put a bit of light red with the blue with the ultramarine, and I want to get that in here, and you'll see why in a little while. I want to get that in there, because the light's coming from this side, and I think I must just leave it at that, I think. Won't do any more. Sometimes you can overwork the sky if you're not careful, and that's about it to my time now. And I want to bring that in there, because you've got a bit of headland coming out in the mist, yeah. So let's just soak that up. Got a bit of a tissue, look. I'm just going to soak that a little bit up there. Let's have a look. And right, let me just get on with the sand now. Yeah, we went from Haverford West to out to Broadhaven. And it's an expanse of a beach. It's amazing, really. And we went to the left side, the south side of the beach, and had a bag of chips, and we ended on the beach here. This is from a quick sketch. And when the tide's right out, you can walk around here to what's known as Little Haven. We've got these little cottages by a cove or pub. Couple of pubs actually. So yeah, so now I'm going to leave that like that. I can't do much more than that, really. That's all got to dry off now, and yeah, so it's a very distinctive sort of rock formation on the left side here. Now I will leave it like that. Session now of this view in Broadhaven, North Pembrokeshire, and I was explaining that my first session that we were on holiday on there for a little week, sitting in my daughter's caravan, and how that we on the Monday we went out to Harford West and then off to Broadhaven, and yeah, so this is really from a sketch of the view of the left side of the beach if you're looking out towards the sea. And around here, as I was saying, you can get round to Little Haven. This is Broadhaven, and Little Haven is a little cove with cottages and what have you. Now, I want to get this in if I can, but I'm going to be very careful I don't do this too heavy. I want a light. Be careful here. This is the headland behind this rock formation, so I don't want it too pronounced. I'm leaving gaps where, there we go. I think that's just enough of a suggestion of something behind there. Now what we want is the light catching this rock formation here. There we go. Yeah, and on the Tuesday I took Gwyneth over the Priscilli's, so that we went to Cardigan, and her brother lives in Cardigan, Idris, and so she could have time with Idris and his wife Norma. Had a lovely time with them, which was great to catch up on. And then on the way back, we came around the coast and we came to Fishguard Lower Town, and we got there just in time to be able to sit on the quay in Lower Town, Fishguard Harbour, and we had a jack and potato, which was great, really. And prawn jack and potato, obviously quite fresh, and yeah, the prawns, and it was a great time. But Pembrokeshire, it's a bit like Cornwall without the traffic. It's so quiet. Can't believe when you're driving around, you're in July. But there we go. And I just want a little bit of colour in here, like a warmth of colour. Not too much, just a little bit. And then when I put the blues in here, it'll mix with all this. And it'll leave me light areas and some dark areas. So now let's get the blue in them. There we go. It's quite sharp there and about there. I want the light coming from this left side. So, and I'll be going over all of this with a rigger brush later and get more definition in. But for now, I think that's what I'll do. Is I'm just getting the darks in place. And it's not quite random, really. You're just leaving areas. And of course, you've got to bear in mind, all this will dry so much later. And with watercolour, you always got to bear that in mind. And that's why often watercolour paint is going to look so insipid, because they haven't gone bold enough to start with. I think I've got enough time. I might just get a suggestion of the sea. And I'm leaving white areas and not, for surf and that. There we go. And then what I want to do is get that in here. But what I want to do is get the reflection of that in. So let's do this. See how this works. And I think we just got enough time to do this. So it's going then into the, merging into that wet colour I've put on. And I might just, there we go. And what you can do is, if I was to take all the excess water out of the brush, and it could be too soon to do this, no, it's not so bad. There we are. It'll break that down. And that's it for this session. Off this painting now in Broadhaven. I was saying Gwyneth and I were there last week. We were staying in our daughter's caravan near Narberth, and then we had a day. We went up to Alford West, and then had a cup of coffee by the river there, and then we went on to Broadhaven. And so I'm working from a quick sketch here. And yeah, and I met a young lad, Daniel, when I was having a coffee. He's from a chapel called Pennywell Baptist Chapel up in Roach, which is North Pembrokeshire. It's just a little village before you would drop down to Newgale Bay. Very impressive bay, Newgale. And yeah, it's a lovely fellowship. We're holidaying up in that area. you couldn't do better than going there on a Sunday. In fact, I'm preaching there for their church anniversary in 3rd of August. So, yeah, so again in the morning, and then they have their meeting about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, then their evening meeting. And, yeah, so I'm looking forward to being there with them all. It's a very warm fellowship. Hywel Brown was the minister there for a number of years, Hywel. And Gwyneth and I are very friendly with Hywel and his wife Sheila. And we'd often have a night with them. Trouble is, it could be 2 in the morning, and Sheila and Hywel, they're freshening up the teapot, and they've had very late nights, Hywel and Sheila, at times. But, yeah, then Peter Gwither was there, who was from Neathway, Skewen Way. And, so, yeah, it's a lovely fellowship up there in North Pembrokeshire. But here we are in around the corner here, a low tide in Broadhaven. You get a little haven with a row of cottages and a little bit of a cove. See, and I don't need anything more than that. I wouldn't think. Perhaps just freshen up a little bit. Let's have a look with some lights catching. We've got the light catching this greenery here, so we could continue that with the light catching just here and there with the rocks, but don't do too much of this or you'll lose the effect. Let's just keep it just here and there, really. And I think that's about it, I think. Let's just get a mount on it and we'll call it a day. Let's have a look here. See where we are. There we are, that's Broadhaven down in North Pembrokeshire.